Alrighty, folks, we are back with another Amazing Spider-Man review, and today we are reviewing Amazing Spider-Man issue 3. This issue came out in July of 1963, so it's just 2 months after Amazing Spider-Man number 2. So as you can see, this series started out, it wasn't a monthly series. It would come out every other month. So that is something to think about as the Amazing Spider-Man was being tested, basically. But as we know, it soon became a monthly book. But for right now, it is not a monthly book. At that time, it was every other month. So today's villain, we are looking at the first appearance of this guy right here, Dr. Octopus. I would consider him as a super villain. He is a lot more dangerous compared to the other two villains we have looked at, which is, the Vulture and Chameleon. Dr. Octopus is in his whole nother category. He fits in a whole nother category. So let's get started with Dr. Octopus in this story. As always, I am reviewing the story. I am giving a lot of details to the story, so I'm spoiling the story for you for your good pleasure. I'm also reviewing the artwork, and again, the artwork is by none other than Steve Ditko, the legend Steve Ditko. So we are looking at this man right here, the first supervillain Spider-Man has ever came up against, and the first villain that Spider-Man has lost to. He has been defeated, as we will look at today. He will be defeated by Dr. Octopus in this story. So we start out this story in the beginning, as always. Usually it begins with something to do with crooks trying to steal something. And so that's what we have right here. It looks like these bunch of thieves are trying to steal a vault. Spider-Man shines his red shining logo on a wall. Spider-Man comes down and easily overtakes these crooks. Now, something to think about and something to recognize is this is the first time we have seen this red shining beacon, which is the Spider-Man logo whenever Spider-Man is out crime fighting. In other issues, you'll see he usually shines this light coming from a belt, as we can see right here. So this is the first time that Steve Ditko has added that feature to the Spider-Man suit. So now we cut our scene to the Atomic Research Center. We are now going to an Atomic Research Center where we are introduced to this new villain, which is Dr. Octopus. Now at this point, he is not a villain. We find out that he is an atomic researcher, and he's one of the best in the country. At that time, he was one of the best. As you can see, he's mixing in the ingredients for his experiments. He is just a brilliant guy, as we can tell. But while he is doing his experiments on his own, a couple of researchers who work there find that the radiation meter has gone a little bit wacky. It's going a little bit out of control. So they're saying, sound the alarm, like something bad is about to happen, and it does. Basically, there is an explosion within the facility. Dr. Octopus is caught in the middle of that explosion, and because of that explosion, he is found in a heap of rubble. He is still alive, though. After this big explosion, he is found to be alive, and he is immediately taken to this hospital where the doctors find that the radiation that came from the blast basically caused a lot of brain damage to him, and that it's dangerous for the nurses and doctors to take the arms off of Dr. Octopus. As we have seen from the earlier panels, he would use these arms to do his experiments on, so he was the only one to use these arms. He invented these arms, and so they have almost become a part of him. They're like grafted onto him. Dr. Octopus wakes up. We find also in the earlier panels that his real name is Otto Octavius. That is his official name, but people have known him already as Dr. Octopus. He wakes up. He wants to get back to work. The doctors say that he needs to rest. Dr. Octopus at this point is angry at the doctors. It goes to show what he is thinking about in his mind, and he plans to escape. So that is exactly what he does. He uses his arms to his use, breaks the bars off of the window, and he now understands that with these mighty arms, he can pretty much be a supreme human being on Earth. He calls in one person to come into his room, but it is a trap. So that guy is being held hostage. Now we cut to the Daily Bugle, where we have found out in last issue that Peter Parker is now working for J. Jonah Jameson, getting the pictures of Spider-Man in action. And as we found out from the last issue, that Peter Parker will not reveal the secret to how he gets those photos. Now, one thing to understand is that at this point in the beginning of the story, Spider-Man has been a little bit cocky. He feels like he's bored. He's wanting to get into some action. He's become very overconfident. So he has decided that he's going to go and visit Dr. Octopus himself and see what is up with why the photographers of the Daily Bugle, why they can't get photos of Dr. Octopus. So Spider-Man just comes in thinking he can just do what he wants to do, climbs the building, looks inside, and he comes to find out that Dr. Octopus has held many people hostage, and he does not want to let them go until he gets the necessary equipment to do a dangerous experiment. One guy threatens that he will not get the equipment, and Dr. Octopus at that point lifts the guy up in the air, threatening basically that he will show or demonstrate his power to him. Spider-Man, seen enough, leaps through the window and boldly tries to intimidate Dr. Octopus, but to no avail. Spider-Man leaps up in the air, boom, one big punch in the jaw with one of Dr. Octopus's tentacles. Spider-Man tries to fight. It's a great battle scene right here. But again, Dr. Octopus is very skilled with his arms already after learning that he can use them to his own will. Spider-Man is held and he's helpless, and basically Spider-Man is thrown out the window, thus being his very first defeat as a superhero. Spider-Man takes off his mask, realizing that he has, for the very first time, seen defeat. Dr. Octopus continues with his schemes, wanting to basically control the facility, make the facility his own, and he has this bright idea that he is going to try to destroy the facility and rebuild it so it can be his personal laboratory, his own place where he can do his experiments on his own with the atomic power. So as we can see already, Dr. Octopus is a lot more dangerous than the other villains we have looked at so far, because he is a huge threat, threatening to use atomic powers to his own will. So yeah, it alerts a lot of people, including the military. So if you have a supervillain like that who basically has to get the military involved, you know that he is something else. And we cut back now to Peter Parker goes back at his home, feeling defeated. Aunt May, being the mother figure that she is, wondering why he is so upset. Peter Parker says, "Don't worry about it. It's just something I have to deal with on my own." People at school take notice that Peter Parker is down because of the defeat, but they don't know why he's down. Flash Thompson, always being the bully that he is, basically says that he's always down in the dumps. Now, because of this, the big defeat, basically, and Dr. Octopus on a rampage, the governor of New York basically has gotten in contact with Fantastic Four, wanting their assistance. We see that Johnny Storm visits Peter Parker's high school to give a lecture. Human Torch is healing from his other missions that he's done with the Fantastic Four, and so he is waiting for his powers to come back full strength so that he can go and fight Dr. Octopus. During this speech, the Human Torch pretty much gives a great speech about never giving up, and this pretty much fires up Peter Parker. And he said, by golly, he's right. He's right. So because of the motivation, Spider-Man goes back into action, and he goes back once again to fight Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus sees Spider-Man on the screen. He detects that he's near. He doesn't want anything to do with Spider-Man. He wants Spider-Man done with. He throws many or makes many attempts to destroy Spider-Man with traps, but to no avail. So now we get to our final battle. Spider-Man, being the scientist as he is, Peter Parker, he mixes formulas together to use against Dr. Octopus. He uses these wires, and what he does is he throws these wires on two of Dr. Octopus' tentacles. These wires basically explode, causing two of his tentacles to graft together. And Spider-Man continues to fight with those flailing tentacles of Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus still being very dangerous. Spider-Man webs Dr. Octopus's eyes. That causes a momentary distraction. And what causes Dr. Octopus's defeat is one punch to the jaw. And Dr. Octopus is then carried out with the military, gift wrapped and ready to go. And that basically ends the reign of Dr. Octopus for a little while. We know that Dr. Octopus is put in prison, along with he'll be seeing the Vulture there. Spider-Man decides to come and visit the Human Torch. He thanks the Human Torch for basically giving him the motivation to fight. The Human Torch is confused, like, what did I do? Basically, Human Torch comes back to Peter Parker's high school, does, a little bit of showboating in the sky, just showing off his powers. Human Torch wonders where Spider-Man went off to, and then the Flash is saying, now there is a true man. A Human Torch, also the Spider-Man, he's a true man as well. Why can't you be one? And Peter Parker's thinking, well, I am Spider-Man, but I'm not going to tell you. But I'll have the real pleasure of telling you someday. And that is how we end issue number 3. And here is a big splash page of Spidey right here, giving a special thank you to his fans. All right, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed this quick review of Spider-Man. I really did enjoy this. Please give this video a like. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, as you'll get more reviews just like this. I'm reviewing this entire series. If you have another title, another Silver Age title that you would like me to review, feel free to comment below. Other than that, I will see you in the next review.